We all know House of the Dragon has some of the most jaw-dropping, dragon-melting spectacle ever put on television. But let's be honest, sometimes the most badass moments in Westeros aren't the ones where dragons are burning down cities. It's when a regular human looks a fire-breathing god dead in the eye and doesn't even blink. From the explosive chaos of the Season 3 premiere to the quiet, spine-chilling standoffs that prove the realm has a backbone, today we are counting down the absolute most savage, elite, and unforgettable moments in the Dance of the Dragons. Grab your popcorn, because these characters chose fire. Moment 1. We choose fire. Amos Bracken defies Daemon. Let's start with the scene that redefined what it means to have nerves of steel. In Season 2, Daemon Targaryen flies the Rogue Prince's ultimate weapon, Caraxes, straight into the Riverlands to bully the Brackens into submission. The ultimatum? Bend the knee, or your entire heritage burns. Most men would wet themselves. Lord Amos Bracken, he looks straight at the literal god of fire, drops the legendary line, "We choose fire," turns his horse around, and walks away at a casual Sunday pace. He doesn't look back. He doesn't flinch. It is the ultimate flex of mortal spite against Targaryen arrogance. Moment 2. The teenage lord checks the rogue prince, Oscar Tully's judgment. If you thought the Brackens were the only river lords with a backbone, enter Oscar Tully. In the Season 2 finale, this teenager inherits the leadership of the fractured Riverlands. Daemon thinks he can puppet the kid. Instead, Oscar completely flips the script. In front of his entire army, he publicly holds Daemon accountable for his war crimes, forces the rogue prince to admit his faults, and commands him to execute his own henchman, Willem Blackwood, to prove his honor. Seeing a boy who barely shaves mentally check the ego of the most terrifying warrior in Westeros? Pure, unadulterated psychological badassery. Badassery isn't always about swinging Valyrian steel or burning down fleets. Sometimes it's about sheer, unbreakable will. By Season 1, Episode 8, King Viserys is a walking corpse, blind in one eye, decaying from leprosy and operating on pure agony. The Greens assume he's completely out of the picture, and Otto Hightower is sitting comfortably on the Iron Throne, ready to strip Rhaenyra's family of their birthright. But the doors swing open. Viserys forces his dying body to make one final, agonizing walk across that stone floor. He refuses the milk of the poppy, rejects a stretcher, and crawls up those steps out of pure love for his daughter. Look closely at the faces in the room. Otto Hightower's jaw is completely locked in silent fury, seeing his absolute grip on power evaporate in seconds. Alicent looks stunned, caught between guilt and defensive panic. Rhaenyra is fighting back tears, watching her father literally disintegrate just to protect her. And just when Viserys stumbles and his crown falls, Daemon steps out of the shadows. Without a word, he picks up the crown and places it on his brother's head. A silent, heavy truce between brothers that gives you absolute chills. But that emotional high doesn't last long, because the tension in the room is about to snap. Driven by pure spite, Daemon Valerion refuses to accept defeat. He stands before the entire court and screams out the ultimate taboos, calling Rhaenyra's sons bastards and Rhaenyra herself a whore. The reaction is instant chaos. Rhaenyra tenses, ready to fight. Alicent's eyes go wide with pure terror, because she knows Daemon just signed his own death warrant. King Viserys draws his dagger, trembling with rage, and roars that he will have Daemon's tongue. But Daemon Targaryen doesn't wait for guards. Before the king can even finish his sentence, there's a blinding flash of silver. Daemon slides behind Daemon and uses Dark Sister to cleanly slice off the top half of his head in one fluid motion. As Daemon's body hits the floor, the camera pans to the crowd, and the acting here is phenomenal. High-ranking lords are physically recoiling. Alicent shrinks back, clutching her chest in horror, while Otto Hightower stands completely frozen, staring at the pool of blood with a look of absolute, paralyzed shock, realizing just how dangerously unstable the rogue prince really is. Meanwhile, Daemon doesn't even look down. He casually wipes the blood from his blade, looks the terrified Green Council dead in the eye, and drops the most cold-blooded, savage line in television history. He can keep his tongue. Moment 4. The Red Sowing, Hugh Hammer and Vermithor. When Rhaenyra decides to offer the world's largest unridden dragons to Targaryen bastards, it turns into an absolute horror movie. Vermithor, the Bronze Fury, starts turning dozens of candidates into literal ash. Amidst the screaming and melting flesh, Hugh Hammer steps up. He doesn't run. When Vermithor snaps at him, Hugh literally roars back at the beast, claiming the second largest dragon on Earth through sheer, terrifying alpha energy. It changed the entire balance of the war in a matter of seconds. Moment 5. The First Dance, the Tragedy at Rook's Rest. Season 2, Episode 4 gave us the moment the entire series had been building toward: actual dragon-on-dragon warfare. Rhaenys and Meleys spring a trap on Criston Cole's army, absolutely decimating the ground forces. Even when King Aegon idiotically crashes the party on Sunfire, Rhaenys completely outmaneuvers him. The sheer tactical brilliance of the queen who never was his jaw-dropping, right up until the terrifying shadow of Vhagar falls over the battlefield. It's a tragic, breathtaking masterclass in aerial combat. Moment 6. The bloodbath at the Stepstones, Daemon solo run. We have to pay respects to the moment that cemented Daemon Targaryen as an absolute cinematic icon. Outnumbered, surrounded, and running out of time at the Stepstones, Daemon fakes a surrender, draws his blade, and goes on a legendary one-man suicide run through an entire army, dodging a literal storm of arrows, slicing through dozens of soldiers, and culminating in him walking out of the cave, casually dragging the dismembered torso of the crab feeder. No dialogue, no hosetaschen, just pure, lethal rage. Moment 7. Unleashing the Storm, the Battle of the Gullet, Season 3 premiere. And finally, the moment that proves Season 3 is not playing around, the Battle of the Gullet. After being locked away for her own safety, the grief and rage of Team Black finally boils over. Jace Valerion and Baela take to the skies, launching an absolute blitzkrieg on the Triarchy fleet. Watching Vermax and Moondancer tear through massive warships, ripping masts apart, and dodging heavy anti-dragon artillery amidst a chaotic sea of fire and blood is easily the most explosive, high-octane spectacle we've ever witnessed in a show. Westeros is a place where dragons rule the sky, but as we've seen, the true badasses are the ones who refuse to bend, whether they are riding a beast or standing on their own 2 feet. But now I want to hear from you guys. Which of these moments gave you the absolute biggest chills? Did Amos Bracken's walk-away top your list? Or did the madness of the Gullet take the crown? Drop your rankings in the comments below, smash that like button, and subscribe for more House of the Dragon breakdowns. Until next time, choose fire.